Please rise as you are able and join in our gathering hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance. Morning has come, Sunday is here, and on behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills, I welcome you. I'm Joyce White, a member of our worship team and your worship team this morning. My pronouns are they and them. Our minister is the Reverend Margret O'Neill, and she will return to the pulpit next week. It is a privilege to be entrusted with leading our worship service this morning. And now I invite Liz Thomas, today's worship associate, to offer our congregational welcome.
Oh, happy day. Blessings and welcome to everyone. Welcome to all those of you here in the sanctuary, braving the cold, as well as those joining us on Zoom. My name is Liz Thomas. My pronouns are she, her, and I am honored to be your worship associate for today's service, the Theology of Anonymous Hamster, presented by our worship leader, Joyce White. Our minister is Reverend Margret O'Neill, who will be back in the pulpit next Sunday. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are a religion centered in love. At UU Catskills, we seek to live our values in every part of our lives. We affirm that Black lives matter. We are a welcoming and affirming congregation for the LGBTQ+ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. We are an active voice in the effort to address climate change, and we recognize that this sanctuary is built on the unceded tribal land of the Munsee clan of the Lenni Lenape people. If you have any questions or concerns, please speak to a member of our welcoming or tech team. Our services are streamed to Zoom and clips are uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you prefer to not be on camera for today's service, please sit in the area near the front windows. And a gentle reminder to please fill out joys and sorrows to share later in the service. And now let's land together in this space. We ask as the service begins to please take a moment and not just silence your phone, but to turn it off or on airplane mode. I invite you to breathe in. And when you are ready, let it out. Settle. Arrive here and now. Today is another Sunday of community and blessed connection. Take time to look around you, maybe even give a smile or a hello to those who are seated next to you. Let us be fully present together in this sacred space and in this oh so precious and special time. Our prelude this morning will be Ticklin' Toes by Florence Price, played by Catherine Cattabiani.
Each week, one of our children serves as a junior worship associate and lights our chalice. This morning, as Dorothy kindles the flame, please join me in saying the chalice lighting words which can be found in your order of service. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. Thank you, Dorothy. We gather this morning, not because we are finished or certain or especially holy. We gather because ordinary lives matter, because small acts of kindness add up, because courage often arrives quietly in moments we might otherwise overlook. Here we come as we are, as everyday wanderers, still finding our way, carrying questions and half-formed hopes. This is a place to set things down for a while, a place where wandering is not a failure of faith, but part of how faith grows. In this time together, may we remember that the sacred is not far away. It lives in how we listen, how we stay, how we choose care. Let us enter this time of worship with curiosity rather than certainty, open to whatever may meet us here. Please join me in singing hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. It's around.
This is taking.
Yes.
Okay. I'll play it once through, we'll sing it once through in unison, and then I'm going to take the back. Liz is going to take the front. And we'll sing this around. Okay.
The back's going to go first.
Thank you. Yes.
Good question.
Would the children like to come up for the Wonder Box? Hi, Liam. So I've got all the characters here this morning. Can any of you realize which one is missing? See who really...
Anonymous hamsters.
Absolutely. Anonymous Hamster is not there. You nailed it. And the reason Anonymous Hamster is not here this morning is because they are joining us later in the service. So who wants to open the Wonder Box and see if there's a clue in there? Hold it up. But
No time to
it's a
explain.
note.
Gotta go. Signed,
AH.
A.
You want to read it again? I'm not sure if everybody heard you because I was talking over you.
No time to explain. Gotta go. Signed, AH.
Thank you. That's it. So let's hear the story and we'll find out why that is. Episode 16, Anonymous Hamster and the Work That Goes With Us. The burrow was buzzing. not with excitement exactly, but with a feeling that didn't quite know where to land. It hummed in the walls and lingered in the corners, slipping between footsteps and half-finished thoughts, as if the burrow itself were holding on to something that had just begun to move. Anonymous Hamster had left a note. I've been asked to talk to a group about how we build community here in the borough. It's a big deal. No time to explain. Gotta go. I'll miss everyone. And then they were gone. The borough looked the way it always had, the worn floor, where meetings often ended in laughter, the patched walls marked with chalk notes and careful repairs, the familiar corners where big feelings had been carried, then slowly set down. But something felt different. Spike the alligator, Anonymous's sidekick, stood very still. Her red boots didn't tap or dance. Sam the squirrel kept glancing at the empty spot where A.H. usually sat. Shelley the turtle moved more slowly than usual. And Niblet the mole stayed close to the ground. The worry had finally found words. What if Anonymous got too important for us? What if they didn't need the borough anymore? What if they didn't come back? The questions drifted through the room like dust in a sunbeam. Professor Both And arrived quietly and sat down with them. They didn't hurry. They let the silence finish what it was saying. Then they spoke. Sometimes, they said gently, we practice our skills. And sometimes we get to show what we've learned. They paused, then added, Anonymous has been invited somewhere new because people noticed how they build community by fighting against injustice with courage, kindness, and cleverness. The borough felt different then, steadier. Spike spoke first. A.H. said that when something feels heavy, we face it together. Sam remembered, kindness isn't just for easy days. It's what we choose when life is hard. Shelley added softly, and I like, fear builds walls, truth opens doors. Finally, Niblet said, my favorite was, gossip is just a story that forgets to include kindness. As the words moved around the room, it felt a little like A.H. was still there. Spike took a deep breath. She didn't like not knowing what would happen next, but she realized something else too. She was proud. She was Anonymous's sidekick. She would carry on the work until they came back. Later, when the borough had grown quiet, Spike walked up to the floating shelf. She paused there longer than she needed to, then pulled down the book of everyday heroics. For the first time, she opened it herself. The book glowed as she wrote, the work doesn't belong to one of us. It lives in the words we share, the courage we practice, and the way we stay with one another when things begin to move. The lessons we learn from those we love are the ones we carry with us forever. When she closed the book, Sam stood beside her and rested a paw on her arm. I think A.H. will be back, he said. But whatever happened next, the borough would still be the borough, a place where trying was safe, a place where growing was possible. The walls still held their stories, and even with A.H. away, the work they had practiced together was still moving, carried in shared work and the quiet courage of staying. And somehow, that meant the borough feel a little lighter than before. And now let us join in singing the children on their way.
Love give light to every face. Let our kindness
If you are new and here in person, feel free to ask our welcoming team member any questions and find out about signing our visitor book to receive our email news. Today's welcoming team member is Rob Becker. There he is. And if you would like to receive our newsletter and you are a visitor on Zoom, please feel free to put your email in the chat and you will be added to the list. We are an active congregation building community and service to the world, and you can find out more about upcoming events in your order of service or on the website. After the service today, trustees Kathy Atwell and L.J. McCaw will host an all-ears session. Please look for them if you would like to share concerns, ideas, or questions prior to the board's regular monthly meeting. And now, Danielle Leota will share about our sharing circles.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Danielle Leota, I use she and her pronouns. So sharing circles on Zoom continue through February, and one is scheduled each week. There's plenty of spaces left, too. We also just added a new one, which is going to be on Friday, February 27th at 3 p.m., and that one's on Zoom. You are invited to be part of this conversation, to share and listen as we explore what we love about this congregation and what we hope for our future. I recently participated in one of the sharing circles a couple of weeks ago. I found it really interesting. It was really nice to have dedicated space and time to think about my answers to the questions that were asked, and also to be around others as they shared their honest thoughts and opinions. So if you haven't yet taken advantage of the opportunity to be in community with your fellow congregation members in this way, there is still time and space to sign up. You can use the link in our monthly or weekly electronic news, or you can fill out a form on the clipboard on the panel.
Each week we share our plate collection to benefit the congregation and the community. Any contributions that are placed in the basket without specific instructions will be shared, half to benefit the congregation, the other half to support 8 local organizations we've selected that serve those in need and create community resources. Details on ways to give may be found in your order of service. For the love and support we share with the world, please give generously. Our offertory music this morning is Nimble Feet by Florence Price, played by Catherine Cattabiani.
In gratitude for this generosity that serves the world, thank you for these gifts. We gather in this circle of love, wherever we are, whoever we are, bringing all of who we are in this moment, in solitude and solidarity, and our shared need to be held in community through the cycles of our lives. Here we learn and deepen our practice of active love, and we offer ourselves in service to this troubled world, especially those who struggle with pain and loss, those who face violence in their homes or communities, all those who live in fear and want or danger. May we continue to work for peace, for healing and love, as we all side with love to support the transformation that may emerge. We take this time to reflect on our personal joys and sorrows and to acknowledge the mutual support of our community. I will read the cards from the basket, and if you are attending today on Zoom, please enter your words of joy or sorrow into the chat, and our Zoom host will share them. As I read each card of joy or sorrow, we will place a stone in the bowl of water, representing our shared support of community. We have a joy this morning from Mary Evans, and I double-checked with her to make sure it was a joy. I fell playing ping pong on December 30th and fractured my pelvis. I am very grateful my injury was no worse. I'm almost completely healed. I have given up playing ping pong. Tom, do we have any on Zoom?
We do have one from Henry Loengard. He writes, "My son Ray is flying in from Stockholm right now and will be back this afternoon."
We place one more stone for the joys and one for the sorrows in our hearts and minds that have not been spoken today. With these joys and sorrows resting among us, we move now into a time of meditation, trusting the music to hold what remains tender. As the music continues, take a moment to notice your breath, the way you are arriving right now. When your heart is in a holy place, it may not feel certain or complete. It may feel curious, tender, or unfinished. Holiness does not require perfection, only presence. If you are carrying questions, let them rest here. If you had made mistakes, let them be teachers. If you feel like a wanderer, trust that wandering can be faithful. May this moment remind you that courage grows quietly, that love is still unfolding, and that even ordinary lives are worthy of care, meaning, and grace. Stay with the music. Let it hold what words no longer need to carry. Well, we have the whole gang here from the borough this morning, and I know some of you haven't met them all, so I'll introduce them for you. We have Shelley the turtle, baby firefly, Niblet the mole, who you might not realize comes with their own pile of dirt. A rabbit, I had to think. Tilly the rabbit. Sam the squirrel, AH's best friend. Professor Both and, our moral anchor. Anonymous's sidekick, Spike the alligator, minus the red boots this morning. And finally, our hero, Anonymous Hamster. About 8 months ago, Anonymous Hamster arrived in our congregation. I did not intentionally create the stories. They weren't even on my radar. Our worship team uses Google Sheets for the worship calendar. In our June meeting, the words Anonymous Hamster appeared on the screens. And I didn't know that it indicated that an unnamed person was viewing the spreadsheet. Most of us didn't. I turned to the person next to me and said, a little facetiously, "That sounds like a good name for a sermon." In another context, I might have said it was a good name for a band. But fate had it that I was in a worship meeting and Google was using a hamster at that moment. And I didn't give it another thought. But when I got home, the backstory for Anonymous Hamster was already there in my head, complete with most of the characters and the locations. I wrote the first story that day. Now, you've probably heard me say that I am the writer or even the creator, but I'm not so sure that I am. Some might say that the information was downloaded into my brain by my guides, and I hadn't even asked. I sometimes jokingly say that I do my best problem solving when I'm asleep. And that's true, but it's not the whole story. I also often ask my spirit guides for help, and when I get out of the way, as I would be when I'm asleep, the answer arrives. But this was the first time that I know of that an idea arrived fully formed without being requested. It feels to me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this time. And so I do, and I find it fun, rewarding, and spiritual. While multi-generational storytelling may be a cute section in our Sunday service, it is much more than that. It's one of the ways that our faith forms us spiritually. At the core of the Anonymous Hamster stories is a quiet but radical claim. Ordinary creatures living ordinary lives are already worthy of dignity, belonging, and love. Their world is whimsical, warm, and curious. Yet beneath their stories lies a rich spiritual wisdom, a parable about being human, about growing, stumbling, trying again, and doing it all in the company of others. The stories generally start with this preamble. This is Anonymous Hamster. That's not their real name. It's their secret identity as an everyday hero. Not a superhero who wears a cape and has superpowers, but one who fights against injustice with courage, kindness, and cleverness. Taking the name Anonymous Hamster makes them feel like a real superhero, a braver version of themselves, like stepping into a phone booth and coming out stronger. And that's the theology of Anonymous Hamster in a nutshell. Probably an acorn shell. It's a theology of curiosity, courage, community, and everyday heroism. It insists that bravery is not rare, that spiritual strength looks like kindness when it's hard, staying in a relationship when it's messy, and questioning systems that feel too tight or too small. At the heart of these stories is a conviction that wisdom emerges through relationship rather than authority. No one character has the whole truth. Even Professor Both And, the closest thing to a theologian in the woods, does not offer certainty so much as spaciousness. Truth is held collectively, discovered slowly, and revised when new voices are heard. This reflects a deeply Unitarian Universalist understanding of revelation as insight that is ongoing and relational, not fixed or final. We'll see some of this theology as we follow episode 11, The Fact and Snack Picnic. Along with Anonymous Hamster, we meet their sidekick, Spike the alligator. As the only non-forest dwelling creature in the series, she comes in handy whenever the story deals with bullying, gossip, or subtle acts of exclusion. And she always has marshmallows. The third character in this story is Professor Both And, a frog who teaches Ambiguity 101 at the School of Complicated Questions. They serve as the group's moral anchor, offering words of wisdom along with their tea. The story starts with Spike and Anonymous Hamster seeing a sign that reads, "Danger, alligators belong in the swamp." Spike stopped walking. Her tail drooped. "They think I'm dangerous," she whispered. "But I'm vegan. I wouldn't hurt anyone." A few mice peeked out from behind a tree. "Someone said alligators eat small creatures," one murmured. So he thought, maybe it's safer if they stay away. After a bit, the story continues. Professor Both And looked around and said gently, "When fear grows, it often starts with a story, but sometimes that story is missing a few facts." The animals decide to invite everyone into conversation, along with some snacks. And the story continues. One by one, the animals shared. The chipmunks admitted that they'd heard stories from their grandparents. The rabbits confessed that they'd assumed alligators were mean. Spike said, "I do have sharp teeth, but they're for smiling." Laughter softened the edges of fear. Professor Both And poured tea and said, "Fear is loud, but truth is steady, and kindness is how we change the stories we tell." This brings us to the places that hold the theology of Anonymous Hamster. When things become confusing, frightening, or unjust, the characters don't scatter, they gather. They return to the burrow, a place where questions are held instead of rushed towards answers. Feelings are allowed to land, and courage is borrowed when it runs low. If you picture it clearly enough, you'll notice there's usually tea and snacks, and just enough room for everyone to scoot a little closer. Professor Both And has agreed to pop in now and then this morning to help me with the theology. They once said, "Community isn't where answers live, it's where we go when we're tired of carrying things alone." This is what Unitarian Universalists mean by beloved community. The choice to stay in relationship when things are unfinished or uncomfortable. In the burrow, that commitment takes shape through practice. Anonymous Hamster brings curiosity and quiet courage. Sam the squirrel brings energy, play, and unexpected connections. Spike brings fierce compassion and a readiness to protect. Professor Both And brings wisdom that slows the moment just enough for clarity to emerge. No one voice is sufficient on its own. The community works because each one is needed. In the world of Anonymous Hamster, mistakes happen, and they do. They're not hidden away. They are placed gently on a shelf, deep in the library of big ideas. The shelf of small mistakes and learning experiences is not a place of punishment or shame. It is an altar of becoming, where everyone leaves behind a fear, a regret, or an oops, and picks up courage. Each object on the shelf tells a story. A burnt cookie, still faintly smelling of sugar. A broken gadget, a half-finished letter. These aren't symbols of failure. They are signs that someone tried. As Professor Bolthand remarked in a story, the world is a great teacher, even mistakes, even changes, even things that seem ordinary. The trick is staying open. Many of us were taught that mistakes are something to avoid. Over time, they become tangled with shame, but shame stops transformation. The shelf offers a different way. In this theology, mistakes are teachers. They are not proof that we are failing at life. They are proof that life is working on us. Unitarian Universalism affirms that people are not hardwired. We believe we can grow, change, and heal over time. Transformation is not a straight line toward perfection. It's a spiral of trying, reflecting, repairing, and trying again. The shelf of small mistakes and learning experiences invites us into a gentler relationship with ourselves and one another, shifting the question from how do I avoid mistakes to what is this moment teaching me, and how will I let it change me? Above all this stands the Library of Big Ideas, not just a building, but a way of understanding the inner life. Beneath its domed ceilings and spiraling shelves is a simple but powerful idea. Each of us carries an inner library, unfinished and alive with possibility. It holds what we have learned, what we once believed, what we are still sorting out, and what we have not yet dared to open. One of the stories said it best. Just then, in came Professor Bolthand, wearing a bright scarf and carrying a steaming cup of tea. They set it down carefully, and then with a gentle smile added, "Ambiguity is delicious. Life never stops changing, and that means it never stops teaching us." Revelation in this theology is not sealed. Wisdom is not delivered as certainty. It grows through curiosity, experience, and relationship. We don't receive truth fully formed. We discover it slowly, often in unexpected ways. The Library of Big Ideas reflects this. It contains no single sacred text and no final answer key. Instead, it offers rooms and corridors. The Hall of Infinite Doors reminds us that every choice can teach us something. The Department of Possibly True Things holds questions that are not ready to be settled. The hallway of half-baked ideas makes space for creativity that is still becoming. These places teach that faith is not about closing the book, but learning how to read with openness and care. As Professor Bolthand adds, the good news is you don't have to finish the book before you're allowed to read it. The library within us is never finished. That is not a weakness of faith, it's a promise. It means there is always more to learn, more love to grow into, and another door waiting to be opened. And finally, there is the Book of Everyday Heroics, located on a floating shelf halfway between the shelf of small mistakes and learning experiences and the hallway of half-baked ideas. Close to the place where failure, doubt, and experimentation almost also dwell, because that's the place where real heroism begins. Anonymous Hamster adds to it weekly, usually at night, sitting cross-legged and with a snack. Handwritten and softly glowing, it reminds us that holiness is not found in grand gestures, but in ordinary lives lived with care. The glow does not come from dramatic victories, it comes from truth. Each page records a moment when someone chose courage over comfort, kindness over indifference, curiosity over fear. As Professor both and once noted, heroics usually look like doing the next kind thing, even when no one claps. Anonymous Hamster does not begin as a hero. They become one again and again through small, faithful choices. Asking a question that widens the system, noticing who's been left out, staying present when retreat would be easier. Heroism here is not a title, it's a posture, a way of moving through the world. The book of everyday heroics reflects a deep spiritual truth. Our lives are sacred texts in the making. We write them not just with words, but with actions, our apologies, our boundaries, our acts of care. Each choice becomes a line in the story of who we are becoming. Each time Anonymous Hamster writes in the book, they affirm that courage is learnable, heroism is accessible, and transformation unfolds through a life shaped by care. Not because we are extraordinary, but because we are paying attention. The book of everyday heroics shows that presence matters. In a shared document in the Library of Big Ideas, just as it did when Anonymous Hamster appeared on Google Sheets here in our worship meeting. It arrived without planning, just as wisdom often does. Faith sometimes appears when we aren't looking for it. We started this sermon with a Snack and Fact picnic episode. When we last saw the burro, it had a sign that read, "Danger, alligators belong in the swamp." And so the story ends. That evening, the old signs came down. In their place, the young ones painted a new one. All are welcome. Bring snacks. Later, Anonymous Hamster wrote in the book of everyday heroics, "Fear builds walls, truth opens doors, and kindness makes the picnic worth coming to." The burro glowed with warmth, and everyone agreed that truth tasted even better than the marshmallows. And now let us join in singing our closing hymn, number 118, "This Little Light of Mine."
Little light of mine,
As much as this world of boroughs and libraries feels whimsical, many of us arrived here today carrying real questions, real mistakes, and real weariness. Some of us may need a borough right now, a place to be held without being fixed. Some of us may be standing in front of a shelf, unsure whether we can forgive ourselves for what didn't go as planned. Some of us may be wandering our own inner library, carrying questions that don't yet have answers. And some of us may be wondering whether the small choices we make actually matter. If these stories teach us anything, it is that you don't have to have it all figured out to belong. You don't have to be certain to be faithful. You don't have to be extraordinary to be courageous. Perhaps the invitation this morning is simply to notice where you are being asked to practice courage in small ways, or where you might need to return to community, or where curiosity might soften something that feels stuck. May we remember that the sacred is still being written in our lives. May we trust that attention is enough to begin. And may we know that whatever page we are on, we are not writing it alone. As we end our time together, I invite you into connection with one another, to extend yourself to those you may not know, and to stay for refreshments and conversation. Anonymous Hamster asked me to tell you that they heard we have snack time here too. So they packed up some of Spike's famous vegan marshmallows in a basket of acorns to share with us. If you are on Zoom, all are welcome to stay for a time of connection in that virtual space. Please help us by setting up the table and stacking the chairs in the last few rows. If you're sitting in those rows, please relocate your personal belongings. I invite you now to join in the words for extinguishing the flame printed in your order of service. We extinguish this chain, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May you go in peace and love, with courage, and in community. Blessed be.